Shalom, shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah. Sister Deborah, coming with an awesome message. The mystery must be told. The mystery must be told. The mystery must be told. Even though the mystery must be told, it still won't get to many. Why? It's over. It's finished. And if within 400 years, and yet today, they still reject what you call truth, then the mystery must be told whether it's received or not. And it's not going to be. But I am so grateful. I am so grateful that the Most High God is going to allow me and have allowed me to come this far. I've come a long ways. And the way that I traveled was the way of the Most High God. Even to today, I think about, oh, let me cut this down because I'm going to teach this thing. I'm about to teach this thing. Why? Because I can feel this thing and the mystery therein. And then here it is today. Now I get the fullness. But the mystery is so powerful to where it makes me never return again on this devil platform. That's how powerful the mystery is. It is so powerful till it makes me not want to ever return on this platform. That's how powerful the mystery is. And going to the water to wash out a few glasses that was in the sink didn't help at all. He even laid it to me even more. But I come to bring you a message that outtop any message that can ever be told. That could ever be told, you guys. And it's a mystery that must be told. Now, the mystery that must be told is not going to help anyone. It's not going to enhance anyone. It's not going to open a door open or allow individual come through the front door. It's not going to make the crooked straight. It's not going to bring those that's in darkness out of the darkness into the light. This mystery is just got to be told. This mystery got to be told. Being so, we are in that day. The day that not only been prophesied, the day of warning, the day of everything that's going to come forth. We're there already. I went in to wash a few dishes less than 10 minutes ago, and as I washed the dishes, he just laid it on me. He said, you know how you taught so many people regarding and made so many videos about Deuteronomy 28, Deborah? I said, yeah. And as he was telling me, it was just so embracing to now close that door on Deuteronomy 28. I can actually close the door on Deuteronomy 28 and never have to speak of it ever again. That's how powerful that the mystery is. I can actually leave off of this platform today and never return again. Because the first thing I thought, well, Father, that seals it all right there. That seals it all, Father. And I want to say this. It's things that I spoke of so many times. To yet still It's only the Most High Yah that is hindering the ear to hear, okay? The eyes to see. Why? Because he knows the heart of each and every last one of us. It hasn't changed from yesterday. It hasn't changed from the forefathers of yesterday. That's why you hear a tribe of people or the whole, not I can't even say the whole house of Israel, but Judah always trying to hold on to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Him. They always gripping the hem of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Knowing. No, not knowing, but thinking they're going to ride in through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No, you're not. Let me get to the mystery. Well, the problem that I came up with this morning was really deep. I say, there is a people who feels another people need to know that they are the people. Ooh, Deborah, you don't go there. Mm-hmm. There is a people who feels that a people need to know that they are the people. The Holy Spirit been dealing with me all morning on this. I didn't even know if I could really bring this forth, but I have to. And I've been dealing with it. There is a people on this earth. There is a people right now on this earth that feels that they have to convince people that they are the people. Judah and the house of Israel has such a deep sickness to the point where Deuteronomy 28 says, until Deborah, they are destroyed. Until they are destroyed. That's why I said I can close this whole book and never return on this devil platform ever again. Because that's how I was even feeling. I said, Father, this is going to land it all up. There is a people that on this earth trying to convince people that they are the people. Now, they're not trying to convince their own nation. They're trying to convince the whole world that we are a people, the people. So when he comes to me and tell me, you know, when you used to teach Deuteronomy 28, I say, oh yeah, that was that word destroyed. It still haunts me. When I say haunt, it always comes to me until they are destroyed. A people who's trying to convince a people that they are the people, they are not trying to convince their own people. They're trying to convince a people and the people that's in the world that they are the people. Right there shows that the people that's trying to convince the people that they are the people has a mental disease. They are totally 100 mental. Because when you are trying to convince a people that you are the people without knowing people you're trying to convince already know who you are. You're trying to convince a people who know where you come from, who you are, who you were, and who you was before they even brought a people unto their land. They knew who you were. And for you to be in this or on this earth in this midnight hour, in the end days, trying to convince a people that already know that you are the people, shows you where you at here. You're not trying to convince your people. You're trying to convince the whole world that you are a people and not even know the people you are. Woo! When it is said that these people is not a people 100, something wrong with them. They are 100% correct. That's why Deuteronomy said until they are destroyed. Because there is a people that's around sitting on the earth today trying to convince a people that already know who they are. But they still trying to convince them when they don't know who they are themselves. Years. And yet, they know not really who they are. Because if they knew who they are, they wouldn't be trying to force someone else to believe who they are. Think of that. If you know who you are, you would not be here trying to convince someone who already know who you are, but you here trying to convince them that you are the people. How can you convince someone who already know? And then when you're trying to convince someone who already know who you are, you still don't know who you are. Because if you know who you are, you'll realize, you mean I've been here 400 years and still no different than what I was when I came here. Because I said to the Father, coming home, after I dropped my grandbaby, Father, but 400 years they couldn't come to no conclusion. He said it wasn't in you mentally, too. That's who they were. They were not. These people were not like this. They were not like this just the 400 years. These people been like this. So this is how they came over. What you mean, Deborah? They was like this to the Creator himself. And they over here still speaking and trying to teach and trying to influence the world that we are the people. If you knew you were the people, why didn't you repent? Why didn't you turn from your wicked ways? You didn't do anything 400 years but act the way you were before you got here. And you're trying to convince people, let me say what I'm saying, who that you are the people. If you knew what type of people you were, you'll realize you got a real serious, wicked, evil mental problem. And you wonder why they look at you as less than human. Because they knew that you were the chosen people that the Father in heaven had chosen. But you conduct your actions and the way you cut up from the floor for the 400 years showed that, yep, this is the people. Something wrong with them. They got a chance to see that you act like less than human. Because you did nothing on the land in the four corners to convince them that you are 100% human. Oh, yes. Why would you think 400 years it took? Past 400. Why? Now, when you speak of those 400 years, you still got to go back to the kingdom with it. See, this shows you the mental state of man. Of them today. They running all these videos and been doing it since they found out who they were, still looking over to these people, trying to convince a people who already knew who they were before they even went over and seized their land, before they even brought the ships over here. They knew who you were, but you didn't know who you were yourself. Because that's how ugly you have always been. And I said to the Father in the car, 400 and past 400 years? Yep, Deborah. And they still no different than they were outside of worse. He said, you see, this is why until they are destroyed. Because they have to be destroyed more than one way. Because they were already a hot mess before they got over there. Before I took their land, he didn't take their land, he allowed them to seize their land. They was a hot mess in the promised land, Deborah. Still today, wouldn't own none of it. But they're here in the land of their captives for the 400 years of the church, trying to convince a people who brought them here as if they don't know what they brought here. Oh. The Father was telling me it ain't that the people don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. And it's not because they don't know who they are. They ain't never known who they were. And the Father said it ain't because heaven didn't tell them who they are. They just a stiff-necked rebellion and a disobedient people. And they on the earth now. If they only knew how mental they sound and they are to be on this earth trying to prove who they are to a people that already know who they were, who they is, and who they going to be. So this is why you pull up in Revelation, he said, and the heathen's going to know him as the Most High God when he cleaned your butt up. 400 and some years, I said, Father, that's a lot of time. He said, that shows you how deep the mental issue is. It's deep. And it wasn't deep that these people destroyed them like that. It was the way they came over here already destroyed them. And it wasn't because somebody did something to them or they did this to you and they did this to you. No, this thing ain't go spiritual deep. He said the way that they are here on this land is the same identical way they were with him in the promised land. What reason, Deborah, would I give 400 and some odd years to be in a situation like that? I'm working on my day. And he said, do you see? How can a people be on the earth trying to convince a people that already know who they are, know who they were, know who they is? How can you try to convince them when you don't know your ugly self? Okay. Who was the whole house of Israel ugly toward the one that created the heavens and the earth. See? They don't, where they seek mass, they don't own that. They won't own none of that. But they over here trying to convince someone else that we are the people. Do you understand we the people mean? Did you ever think to do an in-depth study on you as a people? Have you ever thought to put that piece together? Now, you're going to have to leave out Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those are spiritual seeds. Pull up with the 12 tribes. Let's start there. Now, who are you? Okay? They are a people who have chosen false gods since they exist. They have chosen false gods since they exist. I'm speaking to the whole house of Israel. This was way before the 400 and some years in captivity. This was really way before Egypt. Before him bringing him out of Egypt, Before even Joseph being over Egypt. This was a people that were already like this. So when they get over here, these people looking at him half of him. Why? They never sat down at the table to realize, why would these people look at us like that? Because that's the way we had conducted ourselves with the Most High God. When the world see that you was one on the land flowing with milk and honey, you wasn't in need for nobody in the world. And when they see that you no longer have that land that was the most precious land on the face of the earth, you weren't in need from your left or your right of any nation. And you was on that nation cutting up from the floor. Surely they think something wrong with you. Why? The way you treated the Creator himself after he gave you everything he gave you. He knew when he took the children over to, Josh took them over to the promised land. He knew they was going to cut up from the floor. You think he didn't have a ram in the bush, which was 400 and some odd years? You think he didn't have that in the play? Come on. You think he don't have today already written? You don't think he have tomorrow already written? You see? So here it tells me that these same people chose false Yah, as they say, false God over the Yah himself. Did y'all know that? They prefer false gods over Yah. And if you think today ain't nothing wrong with that, that's on you. If you think that something here is not wrong with people who do that, that's you. You in there with them, because that's why you don't see nothing wrong with it. That's why they doing the same thing. Yes, they doing the same thing over here in the land of their captive that they were doing in the promised land and what they were doing in Egypt. They still doing the same wicked and evil. They never changed. They're just trying to use Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to ride on into the kingdom, and it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. Why do you think they've been over here 400 years? When you seen Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in captivities, when you seen Solomon them in captivities, 400 years. Pull it up. You ain't gonna pull it up because it ain't nowhere to be found. So why is a 12 tribes have to go this route? Something wrong with it. What else? They have a culture influence of they always surrounding nations, choosing to surround themselves with other nations than the faith of Yah. So they always chose other nation over Yah. Just as I always say it on this devil platform, I can't understand it. Oh, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I've sat back, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell the truth about this, that I never experienced it myself. Okay, me myself. I never experienced it. Me myself, but I've seen it. where Judah can get a job as a manager or a supervisor, and Judah feels that they have to dog their own nation out. It's just something they got to do against their own nation. This did not start in the land of your captives, baby. This started in you from the beginning. I'm talking to the 12 tribes. You ain't gonna pull up Abraham, Isaac on this. You see? So what happens? It says that they are a culture that is influenced. They love surrounding nations over the faithful Yah. They will take any nation in this country over Yah. It's a known fact. First and foremost, they love false Yah. That's why they can't really minister or awaken the whole house of Israel. Because they love false Yah. They love other nations Yah. They love to have faith everywhere else outside of in the Yah of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. But yeah, they want to slide on into the kingdom with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's what they use. You tell me that ain't mental. That's a mental condition. That is a serious mental condition to be able to have that type of mindset. That's a mental condition. Okay? They have forsook the only Yah they knew. When you say that, Deborah, but those were the forefathers, that's the problem. Their children are today with that same spirit mindset. They have forsook the Yah that they know, even the one that they knew. Because that was my question when one of my issues when coming from one location to the land of our captives. My problem was, Father, when they was on them ships and everything was going on, why couldn't they pull up their yacht? What was going on, Father? You didn't hear them? Father, they was going through a lot on them ships. Why couldn't they pull up you? Why couldn't they sing hymns? Why couldn't they glorify you and cause them ships? Why couldn't they respond to you? Why couldn't they take you into the ships and then praise you in the ships? That didn't make any sense to me. But they got a testimony of what they went through. All the mess that they went through the ships, what happened to that powerful creator that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob talked to? See? No one ever questioned it. No one ever questioned it. I always questioned it. Because I said it just didn't make sense to me. It didn't make the natural sense, nor did it make spiritual sense until the Father revealed to me that they the same stiff-necked, rebellion, and disobedient people. They have not changed. Okay? They forsook the Yah of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But then they stand here today, don't even know who they are. They are everybody. Everything I'm saying here is who they are. When I finish, you're going to get it. You ain't going to get it until I finish. Because I'm going to show you who they were so you'll know who they is. Because it's a sad thing they don't know who they is. But yet they over here trying to convince these people that we are the people. Well, if you are the people, well, what people are those? What are those people? What did they do? Who are they? How did they live? What did they do to get in the situation they're in? They ain't going to teach that. They ain't going to teach it and they ain't going to preach it. Now watch this here. So these are a people who forsook the Yah that they once knew. So I'm like saying, but Father, and this almost 7 years ago, I was like, this don't make no sense. How could all these things be happening to them on them ships and they chain them down like that, and they had to urinate where they were, and all of that stuff took place on them ships for a long travel, and they didn't call on you. See, in my mind, I'm thinking, where my Most High at? Why didn't they call on the Most High? Yeah, in me is so confused. Well, wait a minute. I'm studying being on YouTube trying to get this thing answered, and this is why. No one in the Hebrew Israelite movement want to talk about who they are, but they want to convince a people that already know who you are, but you don't want to know who you are yourself. That's why you passed your 400 years. Y'all already know you as ugly as you were when you pulled up on that land. On this land. And you listen to your mentality. Listen to what's up here. You ain't trying to repent and turn. You ain't trying to do nothing toward the one that made these things happen. You ain't touching his hem and pulling his robe, or you ain't bringing no form of repent, but you on this devil platform teaching that we are the people. That's a mental state of mind. That's a serious mental condition. And I do understand how they felt that a people was less than human. It's because your action even today represent not the Yah of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but a sick individual. That's why they see you less than human. Because they looking at you as you was the top on the earth. They know who you were. They know you was top to the kingdom. And they knew that the kingdom chose you as his. But when they see that, hey, wait a minute, aren't you the one that the people of the Most High? That's what they said in Ezekiel 36. They knew who they were. So what make a people today feel so convinced to influence people who already know who you are? Let me show you how deep they know who you are. They know who you are, for they have the history of where you come from, where you been, where you going, and how it's going to end. And you got your dumb tail, which is not just because you dumb. You got a hardcore mental flesh issue where you're here trying to convince them, and they got your beginning, where you come from. They got the land you came off of. They know where you've been, where you're going, where you is, where you're headed. They know it all. And you now, and for the last 15, 20 years trying to convince them who you are, they know who you are. And just because you don't know who you are, that don't mean they don't know who you are. They took you from where you once resided. They not only took you, they took your land. They know who you are. They know that you represented. You didn't represent, but you were people of the Most High. They knows that. But they saying if the Most High didn't let you go. See, y'all didn't know that. They ain't saying that you less than human for the hell of it. They saying you less than human because if the Most High let you go, if the Most High turn you loose, ain't nothing on this earth gonna make you human. Praise the mighty God. You can't be human. They knew that Josh had you in the promised land floating with milk and honey. That's why they seized you and took everything you had. They knew who you were. Who made them do that, I wonder? Who caused them to do that to you? So whose side do you think they on? See? See, tells it in, that's the mystery right there in itself. And I was coming home and I said, for Father, but I always thought, Father, 400 and some years was a long time. And he said 400 and some years, they still ain't repent, even to today, Deborah. And you're going to tell me that's human. That is not human. That is not human. You can't be awoke or awakened. That is not human. To be on the land for 400 and some years and still don't know who you are. But you out here trying to convince someone else that you are the people. Now, you didn't realize that, okay, if I'm telling them who I am, let me find out who I am. Because you want to be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but baby, you are the 12 tribes. You're not Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You are the 12 tribes. And people are running around here doing exactly what they did before they even got here. This is what God said. They still, Deborah, serving other gods. False gods, Deborah. They forsook the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but yet they think they're going to slide into the kingdom on their coat. Saying Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Just sliding in on their coat. Why did Abraham and Isaac and Jacob be in captivity? Somebody need to answer that. Oh, they ain't going to answer it. Because they don't know who they are. And it's not because they don't know who they are, because he said they only partially blind. That means enough, Deborah, that they should know who they are. They should know today who they are. They shouldn't. He said no work at all should be focused on trying to identify who they are. They shouldn't even be out here trying to identify who they are. If they put the foot to the pedal and realize what I'm the one who chose false, yeah, yes, you are. I am a culture that's influenced in trying to surround other nations as their faith, as their faithful Yah. They want to serve their Yah. They trust their Yah. They believe in their Yah. Okay? They forsook the Yah they knew. So right there, it lets me know, don't come to me thinking that you didn't know. I can sit here and say it all day long, y'all. They didn't know. But the Father said, use a lie from the pit of hell. It's in there. Everything comes down the bloodline of the Father. They knew. Okay? Then he says, referring the comforts of what they could see and touch. I 100% agree with that. And I taught that. I told you, people, there is a people who only want to find comfort in what they can see and believe and what they can hear and believe through the natural realm. Because in their seeing, they want to see it with their natural eyes. And in their hearing, they want to hear it, but they want to also be hands-on, touch. That is where their comforts are at. So what did they say? They don't need no creator. They want the things in which they can see, they can touch, and they can hear. They don't want no unseen, y'all. One that they can't see, can't touch, and cannot hear. They don't want that. And that's what the Father wants you to know. This message is showing you the mystery, the true mystery of that whole connection. Now, what else he was saying? They refuse to pass knowledge from generation to generation. Right on, Father, y'all. I told y'all, I'm a prophetess in the wilderness. I'm not a dead one. I'm living down here like you are. And this here is what I see as well. Rejecting, passing knowledge from generation to generation. So when you sit back and you think that this thing is all for men, or it's all about men, or the men this and the men that, you see how they were the weak link because they never were about the true creator. Whether they were in any nation, they never served the true creator. But yet they want to tell the people that already know who they are. They want to convince them and tell them who they are. How can you convince somebody who you are when they always knew who you were? It shows you that there's something mental is going on with a people. Now watch this here. That bothers me because I thought for many, many years that how are they to tell the next generation? Then you run around here talking about the next generation. You didn't give them nothing the first generation. So what in the racks behind do you have to offer them? Nothing. History is not history because you say it's history. Because they say it's history. History is what's already within you. What you are consistent of. That no man on the earth can take away from you. That's why you're repeating the same thing your forefathers have done. Toward who? The Creator himself. That's why you're repeating it. See, you're thinking that they have to take your history, baby. The history is in you. I know what you didn't know that, did you? Mm-hmm. It's within you. You see? And while you out here not having something short, the elevator is not going nowhere up to 12. It's down there on 3. Stuck on 3. No, stuck on 2. Because the whole overall is you're refusing to take knowledge and pass it to generation to generation. Then you stand here and say, our kids ain't got nothing. They took this, they took this, they did this, they did this. And the Father wants you to know you're a sick person. Because you still don't know who you are. You're the one that did not pass the knowledge of who the Most High Yah is, was, and shall be from generation to generation. Even to today, they reject passing true knowledge. The only knowledge they want is the knowledge they done made up themselves. And this knowledge that they done made up themselves is not even their true history. Your true history is the way you treated Father. That's your history, bro, sis. Your true history is the way you treated the Most High God. That's your true history. See, they don't want to go there. They don't want to go back like that, Deborah. They here trying to convince a people that they are the people, but don't even know what kind of people you are. But it's so powerful how they make all these videos trying to convince other nations we are the people, and then you ask them, well, who are these people that you say that you are? They cannot and will not do a righteous judgment on themselves to tell you the truth. You see? This is how bad it has gotten. That's why I say I can get off here and never return. Because I'm saying to the Father, I put out 5 or 6 videos that's off the chain. And the more you put out that spirit and truth and that light is brighter and brighter, the more they slide into the closet. You know, and he's just telling you, see, now you know what you're dealing with. I told you. That's what now you know what you're dealing with. That is so wonderful because that shows me, but don't forget you got a lane. You got a lane, baby. Let's see what lane they gonna run in. They're gonna have to run into the world. You see? So the Father was saying how they never passed the knowledge. That was my question. I used to ask the question all the time. And I'm just so grateful to be living to have the answer from the Most High God. Because I said, if they doing them shifts, all the things that they done when Joshua brought them to the promised land, those things should have been told to their children, their children, their children. I ain't talking about what the white man did. I'm talking about what you had that the white man couldn't take. Woo! That's what it was. You see their mental state? What is that you had that they couldn't take? They can take your body. They can strip beat you, rape you, do whatever they want. But what is it that you had within you that they could not take? That was your history. And they reject the history because it was connected to the Most High God. They came to this land, even to today, to redo what they did in the promised land is to reject the Most High Yah 24:24. And they get over here and try to convince people that already know who they are. And because they rejected who they are themselves, they out here trying to convince another people we are the people. But why haven't you, and why are you rejecting you, the people? Your history is in you. And that's what y'all gonna measure. They don't even know that. Y'all gonna measure that history that's already within you. He's not gonna measure your way of comprehending it here because he know you what? Gone. That's why Deuteronomy said, until you are destroyed. You're gone. But one thing they can't take from you is your history was always with you. And my question running around here like a fool, trying to figure out, well, why didn't they just keep the what they did know about the Most High? Why didn't they translate it, Father, to one another? That's how wicked and evil these people are. Even to today, they still will reject every word I'm saying because they want to get on that horse that they think they're going to ride onto Mount Zion and they're going to ride onto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No, you ain't going there, baby. This thing is real. Okay? So this is the reason why, because I thought that was really crazy with me. I sat back and I thought, I say, okay, when they seize the land, 99.15 billion, let me just say the whole house of Israel didn't understand you were already in Africa on the west side of it. You were already there because you were, Nile River comes into Africa. So that was your land, stupid people. Trying to call it Africa. No, that was your land. That was promised. All the way back to the Euphrates River was all your land. But when they came to seize all of that, think now, come go with me. Get that mindset. When they came over there to take all that, y'all, they came over there to take more than what the Hebrew Israelites, sick minds, even couldn't imagine. Because I'm like saying, how could somebody trying to, watch this here, why would they be going after a land this small? Why? When you own the whole tissue, why would they go after and seize your land right here? Because you has rejected everything that y'all stood for. When he told Abraham that I'm going to give you the land from the Nile River to the Euphrates River, that is so much land. So what had happened? When they pulled up to come seize you as the Spirit of God directed them to, when they come to pull up all over the place, you all start running further and further into Africa. You were already in what they call Africa because the Nile River runs down Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, already ran in part of Africa. Stupid people. All that land was promised to Abraham. And you were in it. Sister Deborah didn't know it was that much land. I tried to teach it last month. All this land from him. He said, yeah, Deborah, I gave it all to them. I told Abraham, go back and look. I went back to Abraham in chapter 15. I said, Father, you sure did. Father, this is Africa. It ain't Africa to him. It's Africa to the Hebrew Israelites. And they too stupid. That's why Sister Deborah knows that something is wrong with them. You are less than human when you cannot see what has actually been taking place all these years. And you running around here in this end day. Indeed, come judgment, tribulation, perilous time, lawlessness, the wrath of God, all the plagues is pulling up. And you down here trying to convince the people in the world who you are. When they knew who you were, when they come siege everything you had. So what happened? When they come after the promised land that was promised to Abraham, which was given to the 12 tribes, you know what they were saying, y'all? And this is why you know that the house of Israel and Judah was cuckoo clock. When they came in that land and seen all that land had, the land was like this tissue. And Israel and Judah is that little dot. But they had all the land, and the land that Yah had given him was part of Africa, and all of this here land, all the way to Euphrates River, was given to us as the 12 tribes. You would never hear these guys preach and teaching. Because they know why they can't preach and teach it to you? They're trying to convince the world that they are the people. That shows you they more caught up in being the people instead of the people that has been stiff-necked rebellion and disobedient to the Creator himself. The people who have served other gods and enjoy being in other nations and having the faith in the other nation than to having the faith of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's Yah. Oh, they on this devil platform singing to you real good. They on this devil platform call themselves teaching you real good. They teaching you lies. And they feel good about it. Why? Because they get subscribers and likes. They don't have no problem teaching you what they teaching you. You see? So what I'm looking at is what y'all saying. So when he telling me, but Deborah, they refuse to pass knowledge to generation to generation. Now you in this generation, and now they trying to pass knowledge to all the nations. What is the knowledge they trying to pass? That we are the people. That's not knowledge. These people know you the people before you thought you were the people. They knew you were the people. When they came to seize your land, that's why they say that you are less than human. You are less than human because you had it from A to Z. You was the prime of the world. You had everything from the Creator. Your land was gold and silver and oil and every milk and honey. And then in them, they looking at you and say, you mean these fools living this land? What's wrong with them? They cuckoo clock. I knew it was something. They cuckoo clock. And then they got on the ships. Okay, let's say this is how they doing it. Oh, our history. We was in the ship. They had us all piled up on each other. And some women jumped over with their babies. And all this stuff took place. You got all that history. That bag your tail all the way back from where you come. When you wasn't on that ship. When you had a land. All that land. And I said, Father, but that's not fair. He said, no, I tried to tell you, Deborah, it ain't. That's why I tell you, don't be crying and talking about you sad and all. Don't do that. Don't forget. Now, see, the reason why he said that to me, even in my spirit, now he's trying to show me that if I showed you that they had all the land from Nile River on down, that's telling you part of Africa, as they call it today, and all the way over to the Euphrates River was all the land that I promised Abraham to the 12 tribes, Deborah. What are they? This is what they only looking at, y'all. Look, Israel. They want that little land there. That's how stupid they are. They sit here talking about that's our land, that's our land. They don't know the whole land that Abraham was promised was this whole piece of thing here. That's how sick. And what I'm saying, y'all, it shows you how little mind they have. That shows you there is a problem up here. These people, when they came over there and saw all that they could get, and they were going to have Israel, the whole house of Israel took off, running into further into Africa. They were already there because it was their land that Yah promised Abraham, Isaac. So the Africa, Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, half of that was land that Yah took from them and gave to the 12 tribes. Josh took them there. And today ain't telling the true history. The only history they want is the part of Deuteronomy that talks about the ships, the yoke, and being oppressed. I told y'all that. I could not understand why all these Hebrew Israelite men, 99.9 of them, and every so-called Hebrew Israelite woman, every last one of them preach that same trash that the men preach without understanding. Wait a minute now, y'all. We're so busy talking about who's the Hebrew Israelite, this tribe, these people are us, these people are us. Listen to that. How do that sound? Oh, these are us too. Over in that country, that's us. Over here, that's us. That's us over here. That's our people too. But wait a minute. Why didn't you learn who you were? What you were? Who you were? How you act? That got you where you at. Why didn't you take the 400 years to learn how ugly you were to the Creator? 400 years, said the Father to me today. And today they still don't know because they reject every inch of why they're where they at. That's why you don't hear them talking about repent or coming in any type of unity that brings them to a unity to repent for all that they found out or all that they know of themselves. Oh, no, they ain't gonna do that. It's they out here serving so many gods. They even decide to go in amongst the Hebrew Israelite and serve these men. Look at Pastor Dow over there. Ain't no pastor fool. That's who he is. Look how they serving these men. Doing any and everything they say. This is showing you they are less than human, you guys. It's showing you anytime that you can't see 400 and some years and you think you got your history right. No. The Father said your history is in you. Go back to it. That's why you're conducting yourself the same way you were doing it in the land of milk and honey. I place you in lands on the four corners, likened to your ugly ways. I brought you to them. So if y'all see America as he see it, a place where Satan resides, why would he bring Judah here? Why would y'all bring Judah to the land that Satan dwells, Satan's seat, Satan's synagogue? Why would the Most High do that? He knew who Judah is. And Judah running around here trying to tell everybody else who they are without knowing who they are themselves. You see how deep that is? That's beyond deeper than deep. That's what I said. Father, this is a mystery. Yes, it is, Deborah. A mystery that won't be heard. Those that have the light and have spirit and truth really resting within them, they'll get it. They'll get this thing and they'll wear that thing out. But just imagine who they are. That narrow gate that have found the way. Very few, I still stick to what it says, shall find it, Deborah. Others, they're going to go straight to the broad gate looking for it. Because you know what? When he began to say how they refuse to pass it generation to generation, I sit there and tell y'all this today. And I put it in the bosom of me. I sit and tell you, why is it Judah now not coming to the understanding of who they are? Why ain't they telling the truth about who they are? Why ain't they telling the facts of who they are? What is going on where they're getting away with all the things that they're doing? Own children to their sons and to their daughters. They getting away. They walking out of it like nothing. But y'all pulled up, told me the mystery. I said, Father, I can get off of YouTube right now. And I'm serious, y'all. Because when he told me that, I was like, it all brought it to the bam. I don't know what's going to happen after today, y'all. Because to me, it's almost like he's saying that, see, bam, there's nothing else to it. There's nothing else. Everything gonna rumble where it's at. Because if you really think about it, 400 and some odd years and y'all sitting here chasing the history. Oh, these are people, these are people, these are people over here, our people over here, these are people, these people here is our people, these people here. And the Father said, do you know what you are? Have you found out who you are? How ugly you been? How rebellious, stiff-necked in rebellion? How you serve false gods since I've known you? How you surround yourself with other nations and have they're faithful, Yah. How you refuse to pass knowledge down your bloodline. Woo, Father Yah. You find comfort in the things in which you hear, see, and what you touch in your flesh. Ooh, Father Yah. He said, they repeated acts of disobedience. Adultery, rejecting the law and the commandments of God since the beginning. These are the 12 tribes. See, they ain't telling y'all nothing about all this, but they here trying to convince the whole world that we the people. They have no idea that the land is not over in that little spot, Israel. Is that a part of it? Yes. This is Israel and Jerusalem. But y'all said they so blind in their own understanding. And then you run around here and wonder why these people thought you was less than human. And if you can't see the reason why they thought you was less than human, because they looking at you having all the things in the world. You were the number one land, floating with milk and honey, gold, silver, oil, everything. And all you had to do is do right by the Creator. And if you don't do right by the Creator, you're going to tell me that ain't saying something wrong with you mentally? Something's wrong with you, each and every last one of you out there that is not and have not taken heed to the Most High God. Something is wrong with you. So when they went over there and got all that you had, it was more than and better than anything that they had in their land, even the Romans. It was better than more than what Europe had, Asia, Germany, all these countries. You had it all. You had it all. And that's messed them up. They said, there's something wrong with these people. If he's gonna let them loose like this and let all this go, we can get it. Well, what's wrong with them? Wait a minute, hold up. Who? Something wrong with them people. They had no reason but to reveal that there is something wrong with the house of Israel. For them to give up all of that the Most High had bestowed upon them and given them. You know why they know you gave it up? It's because you profaned his name. All because you had to run for your life. Because he wanted you off what he gave you. He was willing to let the whole world share in it and divide. 400 years! He let them have everything you own, even game. And you won't teach and preach that thing in who you are. You reject telling the truth of who you are. You see something wrong with that? And if you don't see what's wrong with it, you're right. You're right. You're not who you think you are. Because this here shows you. This is why they're saying you're less than human. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Let me just get this here out right quick. Let me show you what they said. But yet, you're out here trying to convince them that you're the people. How can you convince them that you're the people when they know who you are? You're the one. Reject who you are. Because you so badly still want to deny Yah truth. So the best way you do it is reject him and the truth of the whole matter while your tail is over here. And then I'm looking at the time, the day, the hour. We're still in captivity. What's going on? 400's gone. what's going on. Tell you the truth. Now, I want you to see something right here. I want to show you something. Now, watch this here. In Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 19 and 20, it says, and I scattered them among the heathens. You see? He scattered Israel among the heathens, especially Judah. And they were dispersed throughout the countries. Watch how they was sent out. According to their way and according to their doing, I judged them. He judged your bad tail according to your way, Judah, and your doing, Judah and Israel. He judged you instantly by placing you in the country and where he saw fit. The way you conduct your ways, the way you do things. So you're in the United States and you're of United States because your ways are still conducting the way it was in the promised land. So he puts you in an excellent fit, Judah. He fits you right in to the land that he's coming to destroy. He gave you a good fit because he says in verse 19, according to their way, the way they go about doing things, and according to the way they're doing, I judged them and placed Judah here, basically in the United States of America. And you say, they don't know who you are. You see, you don't know who ugly you are and how ugly you are. You don't know your ways. You don't know your doings, but you want to tell the whole world that we the people. Yeah, you the people with ugly ways and ugly doing. And y'all son your ugly tails in this land for forms of judgment. Now watch this. And when they enter into the heathens, whether they were sent or went, that means where y'all dispersed them. So when Judah came to the United States, this is what he did. And when and whether they went, they profaned. They profaned. Let me get this out of the way. They profaned my holy name when they said to them, these are the people. These are the people of Yah. See, they know who you were. What's in this book? It tells you they didn't know who you were. Your sick minds. You're escaping the facts of who you are. Judah and Israel are escaping the facts of who they are, who they were, who they is, and who they gonna be. Because he's gonna purge your bad boy. He's gonna pull transgressors out when he gets you to the wilderness. But he's destroying a lot of you right here in this land. You're going down with the land. See, this shows you there's a high level of sickness that has been going on for a long time. And everybody is riding it high and riding it low. And they sitting around here talking about they doing this, they doing this. Look what they doing to us. Look what and all of this that they doing already been prophesied. So what are you telling them? How about going and telling them how ugly they be? So some repenting can come in. Why not tell them how you was the worst of the worst and I can see and I can understand why they see you less than human. Come on, bring that bad boy up and tell the truth. They won't do it. They won't do it. They are people who never, ever follow rules. If you can't follow any rules in the eyes of Yah, what makes you think they can come to this land and follow rules and regulations? They can't. They get to the land and then what do they do? Profane his holy name among the heathen. And what does the heathen say? These are the people of Yah. But yet you around here teaching. You're around here teaching them that who you are. You're trying to tell them who you are when they unity way. When y'all say you did not pass knowledge down to the generation, but you want them to think that you something special? Come on. 400 and something years and ain't never one of your tales have owned that thing. Have brought yourself to full repentance. And don't think y'all don't know it. He said that they are easy to be led and astray, Deborah, by lies. By lies. I know it. Somebody that's stiff-necked, rebellion, and disobedient ain't got nothing coming. And he didn't say you were that just then in the old. He said you that now. But the only thing different, there is a difference. He said you're worse than your forefathers. So you worse than stiff-necked, rebellion, and disobedient. So these are the things that the 400 years were giving us. Time to own that thing. He gave us 400 and some years to own that thing. And we stand our tails today seeing somebody bothering us. This here, that little dot there is Jerusalem and Israel. Not a man on here gonna tell the truth about the land. We are not Ham. We are not Ham. But we was given the land back in Genesis. It was a covenant and an agreement. And then when y'all showed me what the land was consist of, I said, but Father, that ain't that little bit of land, Israel and Judah. This is a lot of land. He said, yeah, Deborah, you see how wrong they are? They not going to tell the truth. You see? They in this land here trying to convince somebody who they are, and the only one don't know who they are is them themselves. What do you mean, Deborah? They don't know that they had 400 years to repent. And they chose not to. He said they even chose not to give knowledge to generation to generation to generations. And this is why the generation right now is worse than the generation of yesterday, because they never gave them anything. He said that their culture is influenced easily, Deborah, and led astray by lies. I know that. I know that without a doubt. That I believe. Without a doubt, I know that they are like that. He said, Deborah, they always refuse to keep the covenant. A covenant relationship with me, Deborah. They sit here trying to convince somebody who they are. They don't even know who they are because they reject knowing who they are. But I gave them 400 and some odd years and it's still going on. Y'all just think that's a lot of years for we to be on this land and never own up to how ugly we are. So when you go to Deuteronomy 28 and you see until they destroy, I'm like, Father, they got to be destroyed. Yeah, Deborah, they cuckoo clocked. They are cuckoo clocked. Because I sit back and I be trying to figure out, Father, why are you letting these men kill these women like this? Father, they killing the babies. He said, did I come to get those that was hung on the tree? And that's coming from you ain't seen nothing yet. That is coming from you have not seen nothing yet. And then he began to say, they put a stop, a total stop. This is when they was in the promised land, worshiping the Yah of their ancestors. See, you see what I told you? I told y'all, the house of Israel and Judah, they got some real hardcore, wicked, evil mindset. Because listen to this. They're trying to ride in on Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Most High said, Deborah, they stopped worshiping Yah of their ancestors years ago. That's why they couldn't say nothing on the ships when they was traveling. Remember I was saying, one time, praise the Most High, Yah. Glorify the Most High. It's in in you. So what? I tell every last one of y'all, I don't care what you're saying here and look at me all cockeyed. I know what's in you. I can discern it. And you don't even have to be in front of me. And don't say nothing. I really discern who you are. You see? So he's saying that they stopped worshiping Yah of their ancestors. But yet that today they tell, we the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We are Jacob. We Abraham seed. We this and we that. We are the promise. We are the this and we are the that. But I'm finna shoot into y'all there. You know when you messed up? Mentally, in the flesh, your mind is gone. Let me tell you why. When Yeshua came on the scene, he told the Jews, all of them, I didn't come here for you. I didn't come here for you. I came to the lost sheep. See, they missed that. They just went on and said, oh, see, he came for Israel. He came. But see, they missed the part what he said. They're going to keep missing. Sister Devin get off this platform today and it'll be good. It's all over. It's finished. Because I don't think y'all can tell me anything different than what he just been told me today. Because all that stuff is powerful to me. Because it answered a multitude of constantly asking the questions and knowing the answers. But then when that ruach pull up in me and give me, close that stuff down, I'm like, I can get off of here now, Father, y'all. I put so many powerful messages out in the last 3 or 4 days, it is off the chain. So he said, what do you think they want now? Something wrong with them. Something been wrong with them. So I'm grateful that he's sharing that stuff with me because it makes sense. This is why people don't listen to Sister Deborah. This is why people don't subscribe. This is why people don't view. Because they're not the ones standing in the narrow gate. They're not the way to the narrow gate. So when he's telling me, I said, but wait a minute. Why did they use Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? I told y'all, if you go back to my videos, you'll see videos that I made trying to explain to them, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are the spiritual seed. And I tried to explain to them, he's not coming for the flesh seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, the example I just gave you, when he said he came on the scene, and he went on to tell them, now I'm not here to play with this here commandments. I'm not here to mess with none of this. I'm here to fulfill. And what was he there to fulfill? Christ was there to fulfill, was he was to redeem the lost sheep that's in Israel. And these people, that's Israel and Judah, especially Judah on the earth today, putting themselves high as a pirate, high as the Empire State Building. And while they got their tails high as the Empire State Building, they so wrong as to hell. And they got themselves so high, they down here trying to stand at the Empire State Building and convince the world that they are the people that they don't know who they are. The people know more about them than they know themselves. That's why they can sit on corners and curse and do all the stuff that they do. Because people like you all love it. They feeding a certain people, but I can guarantee you, they ain't the people going to Mount Zion. I can tell you that now. Because the other day I was teaching you all about how he went into, he came to his own, and his own received him not. Right there. He was explaining to you. Own as far as a nation of people that he owned. Yah owned a nation of people and called them by his name. I came into them, Deborah. Right then, they didn't receive me. So what the rest behind y'all think they received him today? Wake y'all sick tails up. Why would they receive him today when they didn't even receive him when he came on the scene? With all power, all word, and the spirit. So what makes you think what did Yeshua tell him? What did the Son of Man say? Hey, Deborah, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. What did he say? Repent! and they ain't listening now. You've been in captivity for 400 past years, and you still won't own up to your wicked and evil and how you treated the Most High Yah that got you where you at today. Not one of the Hebrew Israelite movement want to own that thing. They ain't going to. Because they on top of the Empire State Building shouting down, "We the people! We the people! This is our people! This is our people! This is our people!" And y'all say, "Deborah, you see the sickness?" And you wonder why I say it till they destroy. You can't see them up there, Deborah? You can't see them destroyed? Yes, Father, y'all. I see they 100% gone. Destroyed. Across the board. Just totally destroyed. That's why all the plagues and the tribulations gonna start flying all over the place. And it ain't caring about who you are, what color, what race, no a Republican, no Democrat. It's coming for all this ugliness on the earth. And it ain't looking for Israel. It ain't looking for Judah. It's looking for the ones that's marked to take them out of here. You see? While y'all down here clowning and acting a fool, he's going on with the program. If he gave you 400 and some odd years and you ain't found out, he said, ain't that you don't find out. This is what make you less than human. Yes, you're less than human when you renege on the Creator who created you and you think you're above the Creator himself. And you want to teach the people that you are the people, and that as if that makes you above human. It makes you a God in yourself. Instead of buckling your tail down in repentance, 24, y'all out here teaching these people all this trash. Talking about you the people. Yes, you that ugly people. You that people that's half of human. And that's why when they came after you and saw all the land that they took, all that you was left and all that y'all had implanted in the promised land, and they looking at you, you got to be something wrong with you for the Creator to take you out of this land and let us have it. Something wrong with them people. They ain't human. I don't blame them. You're right. And if you think Yeshua came for the whole house of Israel and Judah, you was a fool then, you're going to be a fool now. He only came for the lost sheep. The sheep are the righteous one that came down here. How about that? Then he turned around and grafted in the other ones. And you running your tails around here trying to make somebody standing on the Empire State Building claiming that you the people. Oh, this is our people over here. These are our people here. We were here first and we were here. Sit your tail down. You lost where you was at. So why are you claiming everywhere else when you lost where you, why is it you ain't gripped that? Because you're less than human. Something up here don't go up and down. It just goes around and around and around. And when you own that thing, no, you can't own it because it's over. But you know what's going to happen? These tribulations, these perilous times, this lawlessness, the judgment of the Most High, the wrath of the Father, the fire that has been kindled, all in them plagues coming for you, baby. And let's tell you this, these plagues ain't coming for the Hebrew Israelites. I mean, they are coming for the Hebrew Israelites just like it's coming for every other heathen and Gentile. It's coming for you. Why? Because he gave you 400 years. And you lied on him. You're doing too much lying on the Father. You've been doing it for so long till the lie become the truth. What did he say about lies? He said it's so easy. They are a culture that's so easy led astray by lies. I know that's for a fact. That's why they can't come into no unity, y'all. It's not in them. They couldn't get on the ship and come to. You remember I was saying on the ship, all the people on the ship, and they had probably, 20 men? You had thousands of them on the ship and 20 men. Why could y'all overpower them? You see? You see what type of They gone. They can't come to any unity to work together to do anything. That's why they came here in the United States and can't come to no unity because they don't know and don't care what unity is because they never was unified with Yah. They never were unified with Yah. So I sit back and I think about what he did to Abraham before he told him that. He was in a horror of darkness. That's the vision he was in. Sleep he was in. A horror of darkness. Because he didn't want Abraham to weigh heavy toward really what was going on with his seed. And I thank the Father for that. Keep that mess from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They never knew all that. All they know is the promised land and the covenant Yah made with them. I thank the Father for not allowing them to have to carry that heavy weight of such an ugly 12 tribes of people. Because they some ugly people today. Especially Judah. Judah is the number one ugly one. Judah is an ugly set of men and women, but the men are off the chain. And they run around here and making these groups together, and they don't even know who they are. And the Father said, don't tell people they don't know them. It's in them. It's in them. He said they reject because they want to find something to blame for what they have done to him. 400 years was for them to remember what was in them and how they were. To the point where he said, these books are study guide. It'll lead you some of the way. And if you need help, study, and I come and I teach you all things. But what did they do? They got in here talking, we the Hebrew Israelites, we the people of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we're the true Jews, they got our land, you fools, you don't even know your land. You don't even know your land. All these years I've heard Israel and Jerusalem. And then the Father showing me, now Deborah, go back to Abraham. I told him, land. And I gave them land. From the Nile River all the way to the Euphrates. That's some sort of land. And I said, no, Father, don't tell me this. He said, yeah. I said, Father, come on now, don't tell me this. Please, Father, y'all, please don't tell me this. You mean these Negroes been teaching this lie 400 years. And still, today, the year 2025, still have it all wrong. And he says that they love following each other, even through all the lies and going astray. So he said that another issue he had was they stopped worshiping the Yah of their ancestors. So this is what I'm saying to you. They want you to think that they're following the ancestors. Or Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He said, don't get caught up in there. They are nowhere near the ancestors. They never followed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. How dare we claim that they're following Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they are a whole different as to north is to south from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I always felt like that. I'm like, well, Abraham and Isaac and them, they didn't do this crap. That's why. That's why they still getting away with telling their own people. But he said that's what they good at, lying to their people. And they people going astray following them. But this is not something that came and happened on this promise, on this land of their captive. Y'all trying to give you the mystery that it was already who they were. It's not who they is, it's who they were. It's not who they is, it's who they were. So they continue to do what they used to be. They still doing it today. Nothing has changed. So that's a sad thing though, y'all. Because they're using Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're using Yah's spiritual seeds to cover up even who they are and what they have done. They don't want to break through and say, well, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob didn't spend 400 years. Joseph didn't spend 400 years. Well, why are we 12 tribes? Use up ugly people for sure. And nobody wants to tell the truth of the whole matter. But yet they over here in this land trying to tell everybody else who they are. And guess what? Them people have the house of Israel and Judah history from the day they stepped in the land flowing with milk and honey. Did y'all know that? They always had their history. They always had their history. They knew who they were when they took them. And they knew Yah was releasing them as anything of his for right now. They knew it. They knew not to go on that land if Yah ain't released them. So they knew. They weren't going over there to get them to take something from them. They were going over there to siege. Why did they wait till that time? Because Yah called them. Come get these people. They some sick ones. And he let them run all over the place. A lot of people lost their life, though, in that land from milk and honey. Just imagine, that place was supposed to be holy. See what I'm talking about? See, they ain't gonna tell y'all that. They want to rewrite the book. And they have. To deceive the whole nation of Judah. And that reason say deceive, because even if it's 6% of them that think that they awakening and they just fools because they dead sleep, the other percentage is serving the word and their God. You see? That's how sick it is. And then you run around here wondering, supporting them, talking about we the people. Sit y'all tails down. Know who the people is, first and foremost. Don't claim the land till you find out who you are and how ugly you be. To the great I am that I am. And he says they really love Deborah. Love, he didn't say love, but he said they really is into this serving Yah, serving other Yah, not gods. He said God, serving other gods. They really into it. That's why they the Baptists, Jehovah's Witness, the Islam, all Buddha, they serving Israel, Judah, they serving every god on the earth except for the God of their ancestors. And y'all sit around and support them. And these people on YouTube call themselves teaching you and ain't giving you what you call spirit and truth. Because this is a message strictly for your spiritual backpack. This is what you call spirit and truth at its highest, brightest light. Okay? And then he said they have lack of trust. They turning to idolatry and reject Yah and his law and his commandment. He said they already turned to that. And he's saying this today. He didn't say this yesterday. He said this is how they are, even to today. And see why everybody else on this devil platform eating their tails and not even understanding what you eat? Okay, you go right here. And he says something that was strange. He said they got a behavior stemming from prioritizing their own desires. I said that. I tell y'all, when I be saying me, mine, and me, I already know all about that. So this is what he was sharing with me today. He says the behavior stemmed from prioritizing their own desires. I know that. I know it. Because people don't want to do right. They don't, and you can't help, people can't do right. Let me not say they don't want to. They can't do right if right is not in them. Let me put it like that. I need to clear that up. If right does not rest in you, that's one of the ways that sister can identify who you are. When you can't do things under righteousness. You see? You can't do things under that way. But let the Europeans tell you to do something. You'll be down there clipping their toenails with your mouth. That's how bad in reality Judah is. They will clip the Europeans' toes with their mouth. That's how bad Judah is. I hate men and women. But they'll turn and look at me all cockeyed. As if I committed a crime. Because I would say a donation, an offering. You see how sick they are? These people have some real, it's beyond mental. It is, I think it's connected to spiritual too. The mental state of mind is connected to the spiritual individual. I really do, without a doubt. I really believe that. And after what he shared with me today, I know that to be a fact. He said they got a behavior that stems from prioritizing their own desires. They are a culture that's easily astray by lies. That's it. It makes a lot of sense. It's over. It's finished. And I'm telling you, I am. I know you don't probably know what grateful is, but I am grateful to the Most High Yah for giving me the opportunity to hear all these things in which He's telling my spirit, because it's such a form of a comforter. Because when you're in the world and not of it, you can see individuals that's of the world because they stand on the outside of where you at in the they are in the world, and you stand on the outside, not of the world, but in the world, but not of it. But they are not only of the world, they're in it. And the way they conduct themselves falls right in with it. And it's a beautiful thing when Yah is allowing you to see. And the only thing that's bad about it is when Yah is showing you and you trying not to accept it and you in full denial. That's where it's not good. So I'm going to really work on accepting what Yah is revealing to me and just running on, because I always have a lane to run in. So I can always run to that lane and get there in. I don't have to settle for nonsense. People who are not looking for spirit and truth in the light, and the time is now. And it might be that Sister Deborah needs to decrease and let everybody increase in where they at. Because where you at is where your heart is, where your mind is, and who you are for eternity. How about that? And there's so many YouTubers that can feed the flesh of everybody. Mm-hmm. Feed them and give them all kind of meals that they desire. It's no need in being in the midst of all of that, trying to give spirit and truth, and people don't have the respect. But you have to, Sister Deborah, the error, the problem ain't so much as everybody else. The problem is me. Why? Because I have the Ruach HaKodesh in me, and I don't have to deal with it. This is what also extended from Him giving me this mystery of all of these things. And the way He gave it to me, let me see if I can do it like He told me. He said, Deborah, there is a people who trying to influence other nations, that they are the people, but yet they haven't owned up to the people that they are. And it was way longer than that. And he said, so how can one say that they are the people to a people that already know that they are the people, but yet they still don't know who the people of who they say that they are is. And he went on and on and on. It was deep, y'all. It was so deep. And I was hoping that I could remember how He gave it to me. And I was like, but Father, that put a closure on everything. Because it did. Because Sister Deborah rode on Deuteronomy 28, trying to understand why she keep saying until they destroy it, until they destroy it, until they destroy it, until they destroy it. It was just so much until they destroy it. Who are you talking about? I'm going to destroy them in that land. See, that's another thing they didn't grip. They so busy trying to grip all these other things that these Hebrew Israelites are teaching. They failed to realize in Deuteronomy 28, He said He's going to destroy your tail. So you thinking you're coming out? Let's see. Shalom and shalom. It's on. Shalom and shalom.